So in the last class, we were discussing about how should a madhyama adhikari devotee give mercy to less advanced devotees. So we discussed many examples. One thing I prominently remember was about how Ram Mishra fulfilled the order of Natha Muni by delivering Yamunacharya, who later on became a great Acharya. We discussed that. And also how even if Lord rejects a devotee, Lord rejects a fallen person, but devotees very mercifully try to bring him back to Krishna consciousness. So all these things we were discussing last time. Today, we will see two things. How should a Madhyama Bhakta relate with two types of non-devotees. One category is innocent non-devotees. Innocent means non-blasphemous non-devotees. And another one is the atheistic non-devotees, atheists. So how should we deal with this category of people? Let's read a few sentences. A pure devotee has a naturally friendly disposition. He is not prone to cause anyone anxiety by words or even by ill thoughts. He forgives the wrongs of others. When this mood is combined with the understanding that non-devotees are suffering and preparing themselves for more suffering, the devotee's compassion is activated and he wants to render service to the fallen souls. So by thought, word or deed, a devotee is not supposed to be of any nuisance value to others. He is supposed to always be contemplating on the welfare of other living beings. So that being his natural disposition. Naturally those who are devoid of Krishna, those who have no understanding of Krishna, he feels sympathy for them. He feels like giving Krishna consciousness. See, this feeling is very important. Actually, we don't have compassion, but we can become an instrument of Acharya's compassion. You see, Prahlad Maharaj is lamenting, Shoche tato vimuka chetasa indriyartha maya sukhaya baramudvahato vimudhan. My dear Lord, when I see these living beings who are turning away from you and madly running on a rat race like a moth entering fire and getting roasted, so when I see these living entities, I feel very sorry. I lament. He says, Shoche. Tato vimuka chetasa. Vimuka means those who have turned away from Krishna. So, actually, how they feel sympathy is very important. First of all, we have to be suffering due to our turning away from Krishna. Like we sing in that song, Bada Dukha Paiyaji Swatantra Jivane. Dukha Dure Gelo Opada Varane. By turning away from you, my dear Lord, I am suffering so badly. So when we know what is the meaning of suffering from being away from Krishna, and then when we come in the association of devotees, and then we start appreciating that association of devotees. It is called as Vaishnavera Ullas. Vaishnavera Ullas means delighting in the company of devotees. Like we sing in that song. Tandera charana sevi bhakta sanivas janame hoi ye abhilash. A Vaishnava has abhilash that let me always reside in the place where I will get company of devotees. Now, company of devotees doesn't mean you live in a group of 20, 30 devotees and you take prasadam and you go to rest. That alone is not association. And living in the company of devotees means getting an opportunity to hear Krishna Katha from them, speak about Krishna to them, see their convictions in spiritual life, see how they are delighting in performing the limbs of devotional service. And because the common people in the material world do not exhibit these symptoms. When you talk about Krishna, you don't see a big smile on their face. They are not singing and dancing the holy name. Common people are absorbed in material consciousness. But devotees are those who delight in Krishna consciousness. The company of such people is considered extremely rare. So, we should delight in the company of devotees by matchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So tushyanti means one is completely satisfied and one is relishing that association by parasparam, bodhayanta parasparam, by talking about Krishna with one another and reminding one another of our eternal duty to Krishna. So while we are doing that, gradually we will become attached to the association of devotees, which is very good actually. This is a wanted attachment. Like in 7.1 Krishna says, Maya sakta mana partha yogam yujjan madashrayaha asamshayam samagram mam yatagnyasasi tachrunu. My dear Arjuna, I will teach you how to become attached to me, Krishna is telling. So becoming attached to Krishna, becoming attached to devotees for attaining the lotus feet of Krishna. This attachment is very much wonderful. Like all the Jagannath Puri devotees, they became attached to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They could not be separated from him even for a moment. When Mahaprabhu went for South India, how Sarvotacharya lamented, and how Gadadhar Pandit lamented when Mahaprabhu was living. So, in this way, we also, while living with devotees and while living in the lotus feet of the spiritual master, should develop such firm attachment for the Sangha of devotees that when we are separated from that Sangha and we have to go to a faraway place for some official work or something, one should feel, alas, now I am separated from my Sangha of devotees. So one should feel that kind of pain and separation. In fact, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, what is the greatest pain or suffering in this world? Ramananda Rai said, separation from a devotee is the greatest pain, he said. So sometimes we don't feel that pain because we have not yet valued that association of devotees. So sometimes whether we are with devotees or without devotees, we don't feel any difference because we have not yet become mature enough or advanced enough to understand the value of devotees. So that is the meaning of taking shelter. For example, your throat is running dry, you are very thirsty for water. Somebody gives you water, you feel very grateful and thankful, isn't it? Or you are extremely hungry, somebody brings you a plate of Mahaprasad and gives you, you feel thankful. So you take shelter of Mahaprasad. So when we are in need of something, somebody provides something, then we take shelter of it. Similarly, taking shelter of Vaishnavas means while living in their company and knowing each and every one of them, revealing our mind in confidence to them, hearing from them, sharing our joys and sorrows with them, and taking help of them how to see from a Shastra Chakshu, Shastric perspective. So the 6 loving exchanges, they make the place a temple. A temple is a temple because of the 6 loving exchanges between devotees. Priti Lakshanam. That Priti Lakshana actually makes the devotees feel jubilant and joyful and happy and satisfied. You see. So when we are delighting in the Sangha or swan-like devotees, then we can understand. Just see the materialistic people outside, how they are suffering. Now we are enjoying such nice Sangha here, but they are not enjoying, they are rotting in the material world, as Prabhupada uses the word rotting. Like rotting. They are suffering so badly. So how to bring them to the lotus feet of Krishna? This kind of compassion arises in the heart of a devotee. Like Prahlad Maharaj says, Prayena deva munayasva vimukti kaman maunam charanti vijanena parartha nishtha naitan vihaya kripanan vimamoksha eko nanyam tvadasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. My dear Lord, there are many jnanis who have gone into the interior jungles of Himalayas where they are maunam charanti. They don't speak a word. Silently they are doing meditation for their own liberation. Whereas I don't want to be like them, he says. Nayetan vihaya kripanan vimamoksha eko. Why should I get liberated all alone and enjoy myself in Vaikuntha with you? What about all these people? Let me also connect them all to your lotus feet. Because these fellows have no other shelter other than you. Otherwise they will be burning in the blazing fire of material existence for millions of years to come. So this is sympathy, compassion of a Vaishnava. So Sri Srila Prabhupada felt so much compassion. He went to the West, to such a dangerous place, and he preached and delivered the conditioned souls. So this is a seed. This is a seed of compassion that impels the Vaishnava to reach out to the non-devotees. Now somebody may say, why should we go to the non-devotees? We just chant, dance, take prasad and keep quiet, be happy yourself. Because such a consciousness means we have no compassion at all. At least even if we don't have compassion, we can act on behalf of those who have compassion, like acharyas, like Prabhupada. So we can see their compassion, and to please such acharyas, we can assist in their mission, showing the compassion. That's what he is saying here. When this mood is combined with the understanding that the non-devotees are suffering and preparing themselves for more suffering, the devotee's compassion is activated and he wants to render service to the fallen souls. All classes of men and women who are averse to hearing and chanting about Krishna are pitiable because they are neglecting the real purpose of human life. And they will have to go on suffering repeated birth and death in the material world. They may be anybody, they may be even yogis or other religionists or agnostics, speculators, enjoyers. Because these people, their life is inauspicious because they are averse to Krishna. That is the greatest misfortune. Like Prahlad Maharaj said, Matirna Krishne parato svato va mito bhipadyeta grihavratanam adanta gobir vishatam tamishram punah punah charvita charvananam. He told his father, my dear father, the sense gratifiers who are determined sense gratifiers, which means, they are materialists, the hardcore materialists. They, even if they come and join conferences together or they think about themselves individually also, Matir na Krishna, they can never fix their mind on Krishna. Because adhanta gopi rushatanta mishram, with their uncontrolled senses, they are enjoying sense gratification in this world and they are head on gliding to hell. Adhanta gopi rushatanta mishram, by punah punah charvida charvananam, chewing the chewed. They are suffering like this. So, these are the living entities who are opposed to Krishna's plans, as taught in the scriptures, or we can say they are averse to Krishna consciousness. They run away from the devotees, they are not interested, they are not inclined, they oppose. So who is a materialist? A materialist is one who thinks matter is all in all. There is nothing beyond matter. Just enjoy matter. That's all. And even thinks this body is also matter. All the material things are matter, that's all. And he thinks that death is the full stop of everything. There is nothing beyond death. So this is called as a materialist. And he thinks by my endeavors, I will enjoy life. I will accumulate things, I will enjoy life. And when I die, everything is finished. That's what he thinks. Such kinds of materialistic people, when they hear from devotees something about spiritual life, they can become blasphemous. That point is coming here. Only the devotees of Lord Krishna can see through the non-devotees' illusions and understand their plight. Therefore, if the devotee doesn't come to the resistance, how can they be saved? See, once somebody was asking Prabhupada, Swamiji, look at these huge lorries with 16 tires or 24 tires, carrying some huge metallic coils, huge cylinders, and look at their factory, they have such huge setups. Are they not brave fellows that they have become so advanced in the field of science and technology? Prabhupada said, they are bravely going to hell. So that is a verdict Prabhupada served. They are simply bravely going to hell. So Prabhupada saw the modern day technological advancement as simply a childish play of the mischievous living entities who want to manipulate matter for material enjoyment, having turned their faces away from Krishna. So, ideally speaking, living entity is supposed to look towards Krishna and reciprocate loving devotional service with him. And in that loving devotional service, he will feel absolute satisfaction. But when he turns his face away, he becomes vimukh or bahirmukh from Krishna. Then what he sees is only matter. So keeping Krishna behind him and keeping matter in front of him, he thinks this is all I have. So he starts accumulating matter. Instead of embracing Krishna, he embraces matter and tries to manipulate matter and tries to enjoy, which is technically called technological advancement, you see. And Prabhupada saw the living entities as naughty living entities who have turned away from their eternal Father, running here and there for enjoyment. So, such non-devotees' illusions can be easily seen by advanced devotee. Yeah, like Prabhupada saw in Hawaii, there were bluish waters and golden beach. It's a very scenic beauty. And Prabhupada saw all the people are stupid in illusion there. People go for enjoyment to Hawaii. So he saw some young boys were playing in the waters, surfing in the morning hours. And Prabhupada went, he saw them, and with a stick he indicated, what are they doing in the waters? And the devotee said, Prabhupada, they are surfing in the waters. Prabhupada said, what is it? Are they suffering? Prabhupada said, no Prabhupada, they are surfing. He said. And Prabhupada returned to temple and told the devotees in the Bhagavatam class, today when I went for morning walk, I saw some sufferers. And one devotee corrected Prabhupada, no Prabhupada, they are called surfers. Prabhupada said, you call them surfers, I call them sufferers. He said. So, why I call them sufferers? Because the living entity always tries to go make some ingenious ways to enjoy, separate from Krishna. So, in this way, the non-devotees' illusions and their plight can be easily seen through with X-ray vision by the pure devotees. When Prabhupada was passing in America in a vehicle along with some devotees, it was a night time and all the lights were on, colorful lights, like that, very, very, colors changing very, very fastly, and powerful illusion. And devotees were all seeing the big, loud sounding illusion, music and lighting and everything. And Prabhupada also saw, and there were tears in Prabhupada's eyes. And Prabhupada made a comment, just see how they are royally getting cheated by Maya. He said, this is a vision of a pure devotee. When he sees the non-devotees in illusion, he gets tears in his eyes. Just see how they are royally getting cheated by Maya. So, by by hearing and learning from advanced devotees like Prabhupada, we also can see illusion as illusion, and we will not delight in illusion like a fool. We can rise above it. Out of compassion, the preacher approaches and tries to deliver all sinful persons. The devotee is not satisfied with his own salvation. He is anxious for the welfare of others. As he contacts non-devotees, he finds some of them to be extremely inimical and blasphemous, whereas others he considers innocent. By innocent, we do not mean that they are sinless, but that they are not directly blasphemous. And when confronted with Krishna consciousness, they are not inimical, although they may continue their abominable activities. If a devotee sees in a non-devotee the smallest spark of interest towards Krishna, he works earnestly to fan that spark into a fire. This attitude is inspired by Krishna himself, who, as the well-wishing father of all living entities, wants everyone to give up their suffering and return to him. The devotees, as faithful sons and daughters of the Supreme Father, work to bring about Lord Krishna's desires for recovering his lost children. When the Lord sees his servants approaching others with his mercy, he is very satisfied. If a devotee fails to understand that all living beings are related to Krishna, and if he doesn't attempt to distribute Krishna's mercy to them, he cannot make spiritual advancement just by executing prescribed duties. So he's making an important point here. There are two types of non-devotees. One is innocent or non-blasphemous. Like, although they may be still sinful, he's saying, for example, the hippies, they were drinking, smoking, taking drugs, roaming around with girlfriends. They were indulging in all kinds of sinful activities, but they were innocent, and they were simple-hearted, and they were willing to hear from Prabhupada. They were also, as you see in that beautiful video, how they participated in the Harinam Sankirtan. You see, if one is willing to accept the holy name, then the holy name purifies. It can be Kirata, Hunindra, Hunandra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumba, Yavana, Kashada, any category of people. Shuddhyanti Tasmai, Bhava Vishnave Namaha. These are examples of innocent people. They were non-blasphemous, simple-hearted. On the other hand, there were many learned Sanskrit scholars in India and abroad who are very blasphemous of Krishna. They think they know about Krishna, and that is the disease. They think we have studied scriptures. That is why in that verse, Ajñascha ashraddadhanascha samshayatma vinashyati nayam lokostina paro nasukam samshayatmanaha. You see, in that verse he says three categories of people. Ajñascha means those who are ignorant like animals. They don't know anything about God, nor are they interested in knowing about God also. Ashraddadhana means those people who have read the scriptures. They may also quote from the scriptures, but they don't have faith. They sometimes even laugh. Hey, this Puranic truths and all, these are all just stories. How can somebody live to go over the hill? Or how can Hanuman jump up to sun to eat the sun? They don't believe in all these things. How can millions of monkeys go to Lanka in such a small place? How can in Dwaraka, such a small city, you had 16,000 handmade palaces? So they don't have faith in these things when they hear the Shastra. And they may be knowing it, but they have no faith in it. This is Ashraddadhana. And Samshayatma means he knows scriptures, he speaks from scripture, he may even quote from Bhagavad Gita and Puranas and all that. But he doesn't have faith in the supremacy of Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. he has doubts. Maybe God is impersonal. Maybe God is personal. Or maybe all gods are equal. He is not fully convinced. And he is always doubtful. Samshayatma. A doubting soul perishes. Krishna says, Samshayatma vinashyati. He says. So these are all faithless people of different degrees, you see. It is not that materialist and devotee is like 1 and 0. No, in materialists there are different 6 types of materialists. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, those people who have no faith in God, no faith in morality. First category. And second category says, those people who have faith in morality, but no faith in God. He says. Then third category, there are people with faith in morality, faith in God, but faith in God is subordinate to their morality. Like Gandhiji. He had faith in morality and faith in God, but he said, Lord Ram is following morality, obedient to his father, Ekapatni Vrat, very good, I accept him. And Krishna, he has thousands of wives, I cannot accept him. So these are the people. And people who have faith in morality but no faith in God, there are people like that also. They may be, against corruption, they may be anti-corruption leaders. But there are many of the anti-corruption leaders, they may not have faith in God. They may have faith in moral values, but they have no faith in God. It is like a headless body. Having values and character without God is like a headless body. But they don't know. God is the source of all values. So, some people may have even faith in morality, faith in God, but they will put God below morality. You see? And then there are other type of materialists like pretenders or dharmadvajis. Then there are Nirakarvadis, impersonalists. Like this, there are categories. So there are different types of materialistic people. So these type of, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he told Sanatana Goswami, he told them, Asat Sangatyag, Yai Vaishnavachar, Stri Sangi, Yeka Asadu, Krishna Abhakta Ar. He said. So he said, Stri Sangi means one who has the contamination of attachment to opposite sex. And Krishna Abhakta, one who is opposed to Lord Vishnu or Krishna, these are abhaktas. Asat Sanga Tyag, he said, you have to give up. Now the discussion on materialist is going on. Now who is a materialist? See, these materialists, their faith in matter is so deep-rooted. Even if a devotee associates with a materialist who is deeply convinced about matter, is a hardcore materialist, then even a devotee's faith can get disturbed. For example, you are going to office, you are meeting your colleagues. If there is a hardcore materialist, if his faith in matter is more than your faith in Krishna, then he can drag your consciousness down. And I have seen it happening to sometimes to our devotees. Like sometimes when they were in their college, they were very innocent, very simple and very pure-hearted, chanting, dancing blissfully, and they had a lot of faith in Krishna, in devotees, in living in the Sangha of devotees. And once they joined the company, I saw a very observable transformation of behavior. Like they were becoming impressed with materialistic culture. They go to software companies. Nowadays, all our boys are joining, cognizant, persistent, resistant, this and that, and all these big companies they are joining, and they are getting a big salary pack. When money goes into pocket, and you are in the same project with 2-3 girls, 2-3 boys in the project, and a beautiful, sweet-speaking woman are by your side, and money enters your pocket, you get chakkar. Immediately one gets bewildered. And the company culture and the luxuries, you are in AC room practically all day, and fine facilities in the company, and people respect you. You are given a card with a new upadhi attached to you. GET, graduate engineering trainee or whatever. So when the material upadhi is imposed on the living entity, along with the association of women and money in the pocket and materialistic environment, one gets completely bewildered by this glamorous association. You see? Yeah, one can become bewildered. And sometimes such people start thinking, hey, our devotees are too much fanatics. Material world is not, after all, that bad as they are portraying. Or they are speaking as if material world is hell. And here I am seeing, it's wonderful. I am so happy in the company. I am getting respect, I have a post and I have position and I am getting money in this way. My life is wonderful. I am the controller, I am the proprietor, I am the enjoyer. So even a practicing devotee can get bewildered by the association with non-devotee materialists. See, the non-devotee materialists sometimes maybe dharmadvajis also. They may appear like religionists also. Like in Maharashtra, there is one famous group of people, Swadhyaya Parivar. So these people, they accept Krishna. They call Krishna as Yogeshwar. So when we came to know they call him as Yogeshwar and they accept him, we felt very happy. But take a closer look, you'll come to know what it is all about. So these people, they do nice social service. We have respect for their social service. But what is their understanding of Krishna? In one of their books, they are saying Krishna was a socialist. He was like Robin Hood. They say that he takes the post away from Kamsa and gives it to Ugrasena. Krishna doesn't keep anything for himself. He does welfare work for others. Similarly, he steals butter from the house of gopis and he is giving it to monkeys, giving it to poor people. In this way, Krishna was the best socialist and social welfare worker. Like that they are presenting. You see, na utpadiyet yadiratyam shramayeva hi kevalam. All one's piety, all one's religiosity becomes null and void if one doesn't develop loving attraction for Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these people are thinking that Krishna is a social welfare worker and he is nothing more than that. And then they also form groups, go house to house and bhai, bahin, they are calling and they are collecting money from rich people and giving it to poor and considering that as the ultimate goal of life. This is far from truth. You see? Although they also keep Krishna deity, they also may say Krishna is Yogeshwar. So completely a flat materialistic understanding of Krishna. You see? So sometimes a religionist may get cheated by this group of people. He may just think and imagine that I am also following religion. This is far from the actual goal of religion. You see? It's not that materialist means he has got 2 horns and teeth. He is coming like a demon. Materialist may not come in such a gross way. Like we find sometimes in the ancient times, a thief comes, he is wearing a goggle, he is wearing a kerchief around his neck, he has got a twisted moustache and his hair is disheveled and he is climbing on the wall, he is jumping inside and looting something. So that is the way the thief is portrayed. But in the modern times, the thieves come in a very gentlemanly way. They wear coats, suit, tie, they shake hands. Instead of looting, 100 rupees or 500 rupees from you, they loot 5 crore rupees. They loot in wholesale nowadays. Similarly, the materialists can be finer and finer and finer materialists. There are many materialists who speak in very fine language. But under the carpet they are atheistic fellows. They have no faith in God. They may appear like very fine people. They speak sweetly, they are gentlemanly in behavior, they are very sensitive, and they don't hurt you, and they are very polite in manners and everything. But you have to check deep in their heart, what is their faith? Faith in God. Do they believe there is a God who is in control of everything? Opposite of a materialist is a devotee. Devotee means, first of all, he knows Krishna is Sarva Karana Karanam. Ishwaraha Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the cause of all causes. And there is spiritual world where Krishna exists. And I belong to that world. And there is a reciprocation of love between Lord and his devotee. And I want to keep Krishna on the throne. And I want to be his servant. And I want to serve him. I am only Krishna Das. And all jivas are Krishna Das. This is the conviction of a devotee. This is the meaning of a Vaishnava. And this faith is very important. So, when one, that is why the Shastras are very strong about this. You see in Upadishamrita, 2 times he says, Sangatyagat, he says. And then he also says, Janasangascha, in 2 different verses. So this Janasanga, he says, you have to give up, he says. Association of materialistic people, you have to give up, he says. It's very dangerous. So, I was telling you about a devotee's faith. I recently heard that when there were heavy rains, one congregation devotee in Bombay, in Kurla, their husband is old, he is 80-82 years old, and Mataji is 70 plus 75 something. They are old people, they are living in the ground floor. But the water was so heavily flooding. It was coming inside the house, and they picked up the computer and everything and kept it on the table. And they didn't keep anything on the ground, but the water level started rising. And the people, one girl in the top floor, she came and told Mataji, please come up. Don't stay down. Water level seems increasing. So she picked up the hands of Mataji, Prabhuji, and then took them up to first floor. And the water level started rising here below. It practically went higher and higher. So they had an altar of Radha Gopinath in their house. So the water came up to the feet of Radha Gopinath. And then it didn't go beyond that. So when one of the devotees was asking them what happened, they lost lakhs of worth of commodities because of this heavy flood. Because the computers all became completely submerged in water. And all the many other commodities of the house. But still this Prabhuji Mataji, they were laughing and saying that, we felt we were in the midst of Pralaya. As the Pralaya has come. And our Gopinath was the only one who was a witness. And he was still playing on his flute and smiling. And we were laughing. Just see the situation of this world. And we were, and then this Prabhuji was telling that, you were telling in the class that the material world is a place of uncertainties. Anytime anything can happen. And Krishna's lotus feet is the only shelter. So, while saying this, all the while they were smiling. Just like Markandeya Muni saw Kararavinde, Padaravinde, Kararavindam, Kararavinde, Viniveshayantam. He saw the Lord Krishna lying in that Vatapatra Shai, Krishna taking his right toe of his foot and putting in the mouth. So as he was watching, these people were watching all this flood and they were remembering Krishna. And they were not at all unhappy or angry. When other devotees were giving them consolation that you have lost so much money and all, they said, what have you lost? Many people have lost their children, their relatives are dead in this flood, but we didn't lose anything, some water came, we have lost some commodities. Commodities can always be brought back. What is so great about it? In any situation, tattenu kampamsa samikshamano. A devotee always takes all situations to remember Krishna. This is faith, you see. Even a household, a devotee who has heard lectures from faithful devotees, has read Prabhupada's books, they can develop such firm faith in Krishna. That is why the faith that is residing in the heart of devotees and that faith which is lacking in the heart of a materialist, we should be able to see that. So who has that type of faith? We have to associate with them. And we have to borrow that faith ourselves in our life. Yeah. It is that is the purpose of the temples. Srila Prabhupada establishes temples which are like spiritual embassy. You see, there are many temples in India which have got deities, which have got a building, which have got a compound, but they are actually not serving the purpose of a temple. You see, because the life in the temple happens when devotees have 6 loving exchanges, Priti Lakshanam, when there is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, there is devotees coming together to glorify Krishna. When devotees come together and appreciate one another and encourage one another to remember Krishna, and they develop the loving devotion to Krishna, and they develop firm faith in Krishna, and they serve without any material motivations, without any material ambitions, only out of love and devotion they want to serve Krishna and the devotees. Then such a temple becomes a very special place. That is why, like you go to Connaught Place in Delhi, there is a American embassy. Embassy is not accepted as an embassy unless there is an ambassador who gives a signature. This place can be embassy. Similarly, a temple cannot become a vibrant spiritual place unless a pure devotee comes and welcomes the deities. Unless a pure devotee authorizes a place, this is a temple. And then he trains disciples and awakens that Krishna consciousness. Then the temple becomes a vibrant place. You see? Then in that place whoever comes and associates, then they all carry the faith also in their hearts. Although they may come and go to the temple, because of coming in good Sangha, they develop that association strongly. That is why Satam prasangan mama virya sambido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana kata tajjoshanadashvapavarga vartmani shraddharatir bhaktiranukramishati. Shraddha, Rati and Bhakti, step by step they come. So, Tajjoshanad Ashu Apavarga Vartmani, he says. Apavarga Vartmani, he says. Apavarga Vartmani, opposite of that is Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. 9.3, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aprapyamam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. Those who are materialistic people are those who are faithless people who may superficially worship Krishna but they don't have faith. Mrityu Samsara Vartmani, they fall down back into the material world. And those who come in Sangha of devotees and develop a firm faith, Apavarga Vartmani, they go upwards. To Apavarga means liberation. Tajjoshana Adashu Apavarga Vartmani Shraddharatir Bhaktiranukramishati, they get Shraddha. Like that he says. So, one is Apavarga Vartmani, one is Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. Materialists go down and devotees go up. And that is why the association of faithful people should be accepted. Association of faithless people should be rejected. Even amongst religionists, we have to watch. We have to be careful. Now, there are 2 words used by Rupa Goswami Pad. One is Janasangascha. And then he says Sangatyagat. What is the difference between the two? Janasanga means, like I told you, that some so-called religion is 6 steps of materialists, I told you. This is Janasanga, we avoid such kind of people, or Strisangi and all that, we avoid. This is avoiding Janasanga. But Sangatyagat means what? You see, there are fine wrong perceptions that cling to our heart for a long time, maybe from the previous lifetimes, or we are carrying wrong perceptions from which we learned from our parents, our teachers, our friends, or watching movies, reading novels. We have captured some wrong perceptions and attachments which are deep rooted into our system. So there are people who are carrying such perceptions, and by associating with them, those perceptions can cling to us also. So Sangatyaga means the 3 gunas, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Those people who carry some perceptions based on these 3 gunas, we have to avoid the bad association in that, because that can cling to us. Like you see, Ajamila was a Brahmana, he wasn't Sattva-guna, but he associated with Rajoguna. Shudra Shudrani were embracing each other, and then Rajaguna took over in his heart, and he fell prey to that. You see, Sangatyagat means one should avoid that association which is of lower nature. You see, Kaikeyi was so innocent and simple and pure-hearted, and she loved Krishna as much as she loved Bharata. And when Mantara brought the news, "Hey Kaikeyi, do you know Ram is going to be coronated as the next king?" She took out her necklace and gave it to Mantara. That much she loved Ram. "Thank you for bringing this good news. Take this necklace." And Mantara took the necklace and threw it far away. She said, "You foolish lady, you are digging your own graveyard," she said. Kaikeyi asked, "What are you saying?" "Yes, you are so innocent, so gullible, so foolish," she said. "You see, if Ram becomes king, then your son Bharat will not become the king. Don't you see that?" She said, "What is the problem? If Ram becomes the king or my son becomes king, how does it matter? Ram is loved by everybody, and he is like my own son." She said, "You don't understand, Kaikeyi, you are so foolish. When Ram becomes the king, Bharat will become his servant. Then Kaushalya will become very dear to the king, and you will be treated worse than the maid servant of Kaushalya." In this way she triggered envy in the heart of Kaikeyi by comparing her position with Kaushalya. After that Kaikeyi said, "Oh, Mantara, you are so intelligent. It seems the entire intelligence of the whole universe is stored in your hunchback." So then she appreciated her. Then she said, Mantara told her, "I will give you an idea how to reverse the situation." And then she gave idea, "Go to the sulking chamber, remove the ties of your jata and keep your hair loose, lie on the ground, don't talk to the king. He may come and beg you and he may cajole you, don't talk one word also until the king completely surrenders to you. At that time you should remind him of the two boons and you should ask." She trained her in all these things, you see. In this way, how the bad association systematically destroys even innocent-minded devotees, you see. So, these are the non-devotees association that one should give up. As it is said, Jana Sangha or Sangha Tyagat. So, now Jana Sangha is the association of persons I was telling you. When we see our own heart, we can see that the Jana Sangha is outside, but in our own heart we have bad association because of having some wrong perceptions that we have developed. I'll tell you, for example, somebody was living in India-Pakistan borders for many years, and then right from childhood this fellow was repeatedly taught by his father that about the Hindu-Muslim fights, how Muslims are bad and all that. This small boy, as he grew up, his father was a fanatic. He would say, in their community, nobody is good, everybody is bad. He would say like that. But then the small boy would ask, "Papa, at least some people may be good." "No," he would say, "only those who are not yet born and those who are already dead. Only these two category people are good. Everybody else, everybody living and walking is a bad person." Like that he was taught. So because of that, now this fellow has grown up, he has become even a Hare Krishna devotee now. He is wearing tilak and timala, initiated devotee. Still when he sees Muslims or that religion people, immediately the old perceptions come in the mind. You see? In this way, if all of us see our own systems, we come from certain type of background due to which we carry some anarthas, material identification and things like that, yeah. And that is clinging to our heart. Like you see, Prachina Parishad had a materialistic guru, who had taught him so many things, materialistic things. And when Narada came and taught him Bhagavata Dharma, Prachana Parishad was stunned. He said, my previous gurus never taught me these things. Such wonderful philosophy. Jivara Sarupa Krishna Nitya Das. I am only servant of the Lord. They taught me so many materialistic things, because of which I have been remaining entangled in this world. Either Prachana Parishad says that. So, there are so many types of materialistic gurus in this world. Somebody emphasizes on nationalism and patriotism. One famous Swami from India, in all his books. So many of his followers may be thinking the ultimate goal of religion is to become a patriot of India. You see, different people. Somebody emphasizes worship of mother and father as ultimate. So these are all impressions that we may store. Like you see, Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra means one who is attached to his kingdom. Dhritarashtra, firmly attached to his own kingdom. That's the meaning of Dhritarashtra. And he was so attached that even after losing the battle and losing all the 100 sons, still he wanted to continue living like a king in the custody of the Pandavas. And that was a very firm, deep-rooted attachment. And when Vijaya came, understanding the attachment of Dhritarashtra, he severed that attachment in his heart. So this is the beauty of associating with devotees. Deep-rooted attachments and perceptions that cling on to our heart, which we may ourselves not be knowing, will be detected by pure devotees and destroyed. Yeah. You see? Like for example, sometimes like every area of India has different emphasis. Like South India means rituals are very much emphasized. So somebody born in South India can develop very firm attachment for rituals. And we may emphasize more on rituals than spirit. That is called as karma mishra. Karma mishra. Similarly, somebody is from Himalaya, is living in the zone of yogis and everybody. So there may be yoga mishra tendency, performing severe austerities. One may have more tendency for austerity than bhakti. Somebody may have more tendency for rituals than bhakti. Or somebody has read lot of books, Ramcharitmanas, Tulsi ke dohe, Kabir ke dohe, Surdas ke dohe, Rahim ke dohe. From childhood they have read. They have become like a Sanskrit Pandita. All like they have read. Now when they come to Prabhupada's books, they are unable to come out of their shell because they have been into those things before. They are not able to read Prabhupada's books and develop this type of devotional service. Sometimes they remain only scholars without understanding the spirit of devotional service. So these are all actually bad sangha of the past. Jnana Mishra, Karma Mishra, Yoga Mishra and all these things. The Guru is one who detects that. That's why it is said, Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dosha Adhyatma Nitya Vinivritta Kama Dvandvair Vimukta Sukha Dukkha Sagnair Gacchantya Mudha Padamavyayam Tad. We have to become Amudha. Amudha means not fool. How? He is saying Jita Sangha Dosha. Jita means to conquer. Sangha Dosh. Sangha Dosh is actually Karanam Guna Sangosya Sadasajnoni Janmasu. Sangha Dosh is because of Rajoguna Tamaguna Sangha, including Sattva also. Sattva Rajas Tamas Sangha Dosh. Like we make Maharashtrian Sangha, Tamil Sangha, Keralite Sangha, Gujarati Sangha. And whole life people spend for a patch of land, a small patch of land, identifying it as the whole and soul of everything. While the real identity is Krishna Das, which they do not know. So in this way, the Sangha Dosh can be destroyed by the association of very advanced devotees. Rahugana, king, he had the Sangha Dosh of thinking himself to be a great king. I am master and everybody is servant. That was his Sangha Dosh. And Jadabharata preached to him and purified that Sangha Dosh. The result was Rahugana fell at his feet and took shelter. He became purified of that Sangha Dosh. So Srila Prabhupada played the Leela of being a Gandhian, of being a nationalist or a patriot of India for some period of time. And then when he met Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, just one meeting, powerful meeting, from Desh Prem to Krishna Prem, elevation in one meeting. You can see that. And that one meeting gave him deep spiritual impression, which lasted for his whole life. He got strength from that instruction, and he preached and propagated and expanded this movement of ISKCON. You can see the powerful association of Mahatmas, and how the material impressions are cleansed in the association of great devotees. We can see that. So that is the reason it is said, like Vedavyas is despondent, he is asking Narada Muni, please tell me about yourself. See, we should be attached to the process, and we should be attached to persons who are following the process. Then one can make tremendous advancement. Like the process is Krishna conscious devotional service, and the persons are the Vaishnavas who are practicing. And that is why Narada Muni tells about himself, how I came to Krishna consciousness, how I elevated myself, and how did I become a devotee the way I am practicing now. Narada told them. And by hearing it, Vedavyas got greatly inspired, and in his maturity he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam. You see? Similarly, this is called a Sadharma Pricha. Sadharma Pricha means inquiring from great devotees, how did they become so advanced? How did they become free from all material ties or material impressions and material entanglements, material tabernacle? How did they take off? Just like a balloon, you cut off from the knot and it flies up. Similarly, some people become free from the entanglement of this world and they are flying back home, back to God. And so when Vaishnavas become advanced, we can ask them, how did you become so advanced? So, reading Prabhupada Lilamrita, how Prabhupada powerfully exemplified the life of Vaishnava, especially in his last days while the milk was dripping into his mouth drop by drop, he was still speaking Bhaktivedanta purports. How Sanatana Goswami was circumambulating Govardhan even in old age. How Raghunath Das Goswami followed such a strict principles of austerity, taking a little bit of buttermilk once in 3 days. How Haridas Thakur had the vow of chanting 3 lakh names every single day. So we have to read the lives of such great souls and become inspired by their lives. And this will actually remove the Sangha in our heart, the material impressions. Like you see Chaitanya Charitamrita, when you read, you understand Govardhan Majumdar, Hiranya Majumdar, they were materialistic Vaishnavas. Our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. And he is telling Raghunath Das, you are saved from a pit where people go to pass stool, because your father and uncle are just materialistic Vaishnavas. That's one kind of, they appear like devotees, but they are actually more concerned about material enjoyment. Whereas the real platform of Vaishnava means Sangat Tyagad. One is free from all materialistic attachments. So, in this way, by more and more advanced association, we can become free from Sangha Dosh. And by studying Bhagavatam also. Yad anudyasena yukta karma granti nibandhanam chindanti ko vidastasya ko na kuryat katharatim. We have to hear Krishna Katha with great love. We should, with a faithful heart, with a loving heart, we should hear the Katha of Krishna and the Acharyas. When we do that, what is the result of that? Karma Granthi Nibandhanam. The Karma Granthi or the Sangha in our heart will be destroyed. And our hearts will become pure. Now, why did I speak all these things till now? Because, first of all, we are growing devotees. We ourselves have to take association of advanced souls and become purified ourselves. Otherwise, we cannot show mercy to innocent non-devotees. Not possible. What mercy can we give if we ourselves don't have it? What we have in our pocket, we can give it to others. So, we have to acquire mercy first. And also, all of you ask this question to yourself. We ourselves have some wrong impressions, which we are many times afraid, that I should not hand over this to people below me. Like one time I was speaking about how we have to avoid bad association. So one boy came and told me, Prabhuji, I am only bad. Now how can I avoid my association with myself? Because my mind is constantly thinking of bad impressions of the past. Because I was a bad guy before becoming devotee, he was telling. I'm thinking of women, I'm thinking of movies. My old leanings for succumbing to temptations are not gone. So you are saying don't associate with bad people. I myself bad. What can I do? He asked me. I said, at least you are honest. So that's why you are a Vaishnava. You are honest now. First you clean up. Clean up your system. We have to not only clean up our bad impressions, we have to clean up all kinds of prejudices. Prejudices are, like I told you about that man having aversion for Muslims, somebody having attachment to rituals without spirit, somebody having attachment to austerities without devotion, somebody attached to scholarship without devotion. So these are all prejudices. So we have to clear up these prejudices in our system also by associating with advanced Vaishnavas, those who are completely like Hamsas. So we have to associate with them. First is to detect it in our heart and associate with advanced Vaishnavas and hear the lectures from them, ask them questions, purify our heart. And then as we become more and more pure, then we can also give association to others. Not in a very proud sense, but we can know that actually I was myself so fallen and my spiritual master and superiors have elevated me. Now whatever good fortune I have achieved, let me share it with those who don't have it. With this attitude we can share. Yeah. Like that he is saying. You see? So those who are innocent non-devotees, who are non-blasphemers, like I told you the example of hippies, they can be given. On the other hand, I told you those who are inimical. In India, many people may be learned in the Vedas and everything, Puranas or Bhagavad Gita, but one of the disqualifications is they are proud, they think they know, but they actually don't know. Like when Prabhupada went to South India with some of his disciples, some Brahmanas were telling, Swamiji, your people do not know how to do proper pronunciation of the shlokas. Prabhupada said, yes, their pronunciation may be wrong, but their renunciation is perfect. You see, they have given up all their material attachments and they have surrendered to Krishna. Anyway, this is one thing Prabhupada said. Another thing Prabhupada said, anyway, yes, their pronunciation is bad, that's why we have come to associate with you. Prabhupada said. By saying like that, he told them, yes, we will associate with you and we'll make you also devotees. That's what he meant. So, we have people who are blasphemous of Krishna and those who are averse to Krishna. So such people are not fit for preaching. See, now in today's talk I have been telling you about how we have to be careful while going to office and other places. Then you may ask, Prabhuji, then how can we show mercy to anybody? If you say it is dangerous, better keep distance, then how can we show mercy? You see, if you are a doctor, you can treat a TB patient. There is nothing wrong, so that he becomes free from TB. But if he is coughing into your nose and you get TB, then what is the use? You have to treat him, but you have to take care. Just like in a kabaddi game, we go to the other side, but we are careful not to get lifted up ourselves. But we out 3-4 people and come back very safely. Similarly, we should only preach to people whom we are able to preach to. Which means, for example, if somebody is a non-devotee, he is eating meat, drinking wine, but is willing to accept Bhagavad Gita from you and hear from you, then you can invite him to temple and slowly he may change. But if somebody is a hardcore non-devotee, he is a die-hard atheist, he openly blasphemes God and he teases devotees, and you have seen him in the office behaving like this, it's best that we keep a long distance away from them. And there is a reason for that. Because if you try to preach to him something about Krishna, he is going to blaspheme that. Sometimes you are giving Janmashtami invitation to a few people, and this fellow comes and he ridicules and laughs or makes some wrong comments. And this kind of materialistic comments about God and religion can deeply enter our heart, and it can destroy some amount of faith that we have developed. You see? So we have to keep away from non-devotees exactly like you keep away from a TB patient. So it's like the zeroth law of thermodynamics, If you are, say, 400 degrees Celsius hot object, and if a non-devotee is minus 600 degrees Celsius, then he can pull you below zero. He can pull you below minus 100 or minus 200. So he can take your negative zone. But if he is minus 200 and you are plus 1200, then you can pull him up. It's possible. So in the same manner, we have to see his faith in matter and your faith in Krishna. You have to compare both these things, and accordingly we have to decide. And if he is inimical, if he is ridiculing, it's better that we don't preach to such people, rather we go to innocent people. So a devotee should see a small spark, a non-devotee, and preach to the non-devotee. This attitude is inspired by Krishna himself, who, as the well-wisher, so Krishna is like the father of all living entities. He feels great joy when you preach. He says, here is a question which has come from Giri Govardhan Dham, Sri Ram Prabhu. Prabhuji, ISKCON is considered to be an unclean, unsophisticated hospital, but with perfect medicine and material world. And material world as sophisticated, cozy, comfortable, but no medicine. So how does a devotee who repeatedly had a bitter experience with devotees still maintain faith? For this, it is said we must shift our attachment from devotees to permanent things like holy name, Bhagavatam, etc. Then where does getting attached to devotees fit in this picture? You see, it is not that ISKCON is considered to be an unclean or unsophisticated hospital. Actually, sometimes this example is given in some context. But otherwise, ISKCON is also becoming a very sophisticated place also. And it's becoming more clean than the early days. In the early days, there were so many fall downs. Now there are many people in good standing who are very pakka devotees. And the early days, the initiations were given just like this. But now you have to wait for 3, 4 years. You have to qualify yourself. In the early days, people were coming and leaving. Now there are stable devotees for 30 years, 40 years. People are living in the moment, practicing sincerely, strictly, seriously. And you go to all our ISKCON temples, they are all places of wonderful festivals. And thousands of people are thronging the place. There is vibrant kirtan and Harinam Sankirtan going on. And temples are helping each other also, supplying devotees to one another. You go here and do service and they come and help you in your Rath Yatra. The brotherhood and keeping Prabhupada in the center, affection for Prabhupada and keeping Prabhupada in the center is increasing now. So our society is becoming more and more like a spiritual world as Prabhupada wanted it to be. And I wouldn't say it is unclean or unsophisticated hospital. It's becoming a first-class hospital to cure all the wrong mentalities of conditioned souls. Now, even in such a good society, sometimes we may have a bitter experience with a particular devotee. Like sometimes what happens, a person comes to temple, he meets a particular devotee in the entrance, and the devotee says no to something, and there is no prasadam or something. Then there's a big quarrel or fight. Then he goes out and says, this ISKCON people are bad, he says. Because for him ISKCON people means this one person only. If this one person behaved badly with me, then the whole totality of ISKCON, 1,000 centers in the world, it's all bad for him. And now somebody comes to our temple. At the entrance, he was welcomed. Please come, Prabhu, please take your seat, please take some water, please take this gulab jamun. How are your children? How is everything? Is everything nice? He feels very nice and says, ISKCON is full of pure devotees. ISKCON is a wonderful organization, like that he says. So all of us, we appreciate organization or not appreciate it based on the good and the bad experiences that we have had with somebody in this society, you see. So, and why such bitter experiences happen for various reasons. One is sometimes there is a chemistry mismatch between two devotees. One has one type of nature, another one has another type of nature. So just like we say, snake and mouse, you see. That's why the example of Lord Shiva's family is given. In Lord Shiva's family, Parvati has the tiger and Shiva has the bull, and tiger eats the bull. And Shiva has snake and Ganesh has rat, and the snake eats rat. And Kartikeya is sitting on the back of peacock, and Lord Shiva has snakes, so peacock eats snakes also. You see, in this way, all the inimical living entities are all vahanas of different members of the family of Lord Shiva. But because Shiva is always doing, very beautifully doing dance as Nataraj, and he is in an ecstatic state of bliss, absorbed in remembrance of Lord's pastimes, and the whole family becomes filled with spiritual bliss, that none of these creatures hurt one another, you see. If despite our chemistry mismatch, despite our own independent agendas and goals that people may have, if devotees are absorbed in chanting the holy name and studying the Shastra with full attention, it's very easy to surpass the bitterness that we experience in our hearts. It is only due to sticking to the material platform that we continue to experience bitterness. When we give up the material platform and we rise above it and we keep ourselves absorbed in spiritual bliss, the practical example can be given from Bhagavatam. Dhruva Maharaj, he had a chemistry mismatch with Suruchi. That was a terrible fight. So much so that he quitted the family. He went to forest with envy in his heart. He had a revengeful attitude for her. But the result of his experiencing ecstatic bliss was that when he returned back, he offered namaskar to his mother and also to his stepmother. And his stepmother embraced the child. She embraced Dhruva. She also forgot her enmity, which is a proof that enmity between two devotees can be eradicated by both of them advancing in spiritual life. That lesson we learn. And also, you asked this question. It is said that we must shift our attachment from devotees to permanent things like holy name and Bhagavatam. Actually, by shifting our attention to holy name and Srimad Bhagavatam, we want to advance so that we can have right perception of the devotee. Because sometimes a particular devotee may make some managerial decision which may be unpleasant for us. Or sometimes a devotee is spiritually advanced but managerially not competent. So we can see it more as a deficiency or inability in the devotee rather than seeing it as a wicked mentality or a cunning nature of a devotee. Because when you see it as a cunning nature or a wicked mentality of a devotee, our anger towards the devotee will be shooting up. But when you see it as he is an ignorant devotee, he is having this deficiency, and because he is senior, he is making some decisions. You see like that. Actually, there are many people who become managers and who become presidents, but they are not managerially competent. So, and they also can learn the art of taking help from others instead of forcibly doing management themselves. But their superiors have to advise them. But the point is, bitterness can develop between devotees due to misunderstandings, or due to neophyte behavior, or due to adamant behavior, or due to unwillingness to bend ourselves and become humble or due to intolerant behavior. And if both the parties are investing more and more in hurting each other, then the whole atmosphere becomes very bad. One out of the two has to give up the battle. At least one, between Prithu and Indra, who gave up? Prithu gave up. Prithu said, I surrender to Lord Vishnu and Brahma. He became glorious. But if somebody is attached like Indra, and they continue the quarrel, then that creates a messy situation for everybody. You see, because it's like, the Pandavas are fighting against Kauravas. If Pandavas fight amongst themselves, imagine if Arjuna takes a bow and arrow and kills Bhima. If Nakula kills Sahadev, then how can they win? Actually, we should know we are devotees. We have to fight against Maya, not against devotees. Devotees may have deficiencies, devotees may have problems, but we should see the brighter side of a devotee. You see, there are so many commonalities between us. They are wearing tilak, we are wearing tilak, they are wearing kantimala, they are chanting 16 rounds. They have given up the material world, and they are fully focusing on Krishna consciousness. We can see the brighter side of a devotee, how devotee is practicing. And in case a particular role is not fit for us and it is hurting our spiritual life and it's becoming complicated, we have to approach the authorities and tell them, please change my position or help me to avoid committing offenses. We can always request. So it was a very good question. Very nice question. Thank you. So we will complete this one. Yeah. Prabhuji, I heard that yoga groups in America do not invite ISKCON devotees due to extremist behavior of devotees. Why this happens in spiritual societies especially? I don't know who told you this, but as of now, when His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj is preaching in America now, many yoga groups are inviting him, many yoga teachers. I personally with my own eyes I saw when I was in Chowpatty, one yoga teacher, one man, along with his 40 yoga students came to Maharaj's room, and Maharaj offered him obeisances and he returned obeisances, and all his 40 students returned obeisances, and Maharaj called him into his room and gave him a big embrace and talked to him, and he is not just the one. I heard that in Haridwar there were practically a dozen yoga teachers. So these men are all having their institutes in America, and each of them have hundreds and thousands of students, and they all are taking training from Maharaj on Bhakti Yoga now. So, and also His Holiness Devamrit Swami, I heard he has got the loft preaching, where they have, in one loft they have yoga going on, and in another loft they have Bhakti Yoga going on. So all the yoga students gradually become Bhakti Yogis, eventually over a period of time. In fact, yoga groups are coming to ISKCON and becoming devotees. And similarly, our Ramdev Baba, when he was doing a mass yoga seminar for thousands and thousands of people, he invited Navayangadra Swami and said, Swamiji, 1 hour I will teach yoga and 1 hour you teach Krishna consciousness. Because you people are such good bhaktas, give bhakti to all these people. He told, and Maharaj, when I asked Maharaj when he came to Pune, he smiled and said, yes, I got the opportunity, I was very happy, he was selling. So, the yoga groups are all becoming friendly and favorable with ISKCON. It is true, at one point of time, some yoga groups had thought that ISKCON people are fanatical, they are criticizing yoga as gymnastics, they were thinking. It is true, even many yogis became Prabhupada's disciples also, in Prabhupada's times also. So, yes, Prabhupada criticizes the wrong side of simply doing yoga without understanding the spirit behind yoga. That is true. But at the same time, Prabhupada also says, Yoginam api sarvesham adgatena antaratmana. If a yogi becomes bhakti yogi, then Prabhupada appreciates it also. Yeah. I can directly see in the mobile. So, yeah. Prabhuji, whenever I meet inimical people who try to blaspheme Krishna, I generally defeat them so that they should take a lesson and can at least think twice before saying the same words again. Should we do it, Prabhuji? Yeah. Or better to keep our mouth shut and avoid them. Or we should defeat him and defend Krishna. Good question. Very important question. You see, here he says answer to this question. But he is avoiding the association of non-devotees contradictory to Lord's desire that sinful persons be delivered. And then he is saying, devotee avoiding atheists is quite in accord with the will of the Supreme. The Madhyama Bhakta should avoid envious non-devotees so that he won't become disturbed or polluted by them. And he is also benefiting the envious by denying them the opportunity to commit further offences against the Vaishnavas. He says. What he is saying, if a devotee sees that somebody is blaspheming Krishna, you go away from that place. So then he loses a chance to further blaspheme Krishna. That is one point he says. Another point he says is that if you hear somebody blaspheming Krishna, then your mind can become polluted and contaminated. So to save yourself, you can go away from that place. Alternatively, as you have asked this question, you can defeat the person by giving him the right answer, but defeating doesn't mean you have to hurt his ego necessarily. Without hurting his ego, you can defeat him also. It's possible. I have seen His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj and even Srila Prabhupada many times, confronting somebody in such a humble and polite way that at the end the person's misunderstanding is cleared and he becomes a devotee. So somebody is blaspheming Krishna due to some misunderstanding. You can try to clarify. Like I'll tell you, for example, I once was distributing books in the train. So one group of young boys were sitting and they were singing Dhammaradam. Dhammaradam, they were singing, and they were all laughing when I went near. And one of them was telling another boy, hey, these people, they smoke, drink, take drugs, and they pretend to be devotees of God or distributing books, he said. Then I sat right opposite to him. Then I clarified that we are not Osho, we are ISKCON. And I told him what all principles we follow. Our doors are open, you can come and see. When I spoke, everybody around, they zoomed in closely and then they heard me very attentively. And all of them asked me many questions after that. Almost half an hour I spent there. And they all felt very thankful, and many people took books from me. Practically 10-12 books went away immediately. So, but while clarifying, although internally I was very angry with him for criticizing ISKCON, externally I spoke politely. Because there is if I become extremely angry, then people will think that we are at fault. Better that we control our anger and we present the truth, and everybody accepted. And the one boy felt little, uneasy because he was defeated completely. I gave him some prasad. He didn't buy any book. I gave him some prasad which he accepted after that. So we have to clarify, but we should not get triggered by our false ego. If we bring in our false ego, and then they will also argue from false ego point of view, then there is no conclusion. Then the fight goes on back and forth. We should always remember Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he met Prakashan and Saraswati, or how he met our Sarvam Bhattacharya, and humbly entered like a needle, came out like a plough. So, and in case he is still very inimical, blasphemous, then we tell him, sorry, I don't have any time. You keep your viewpoint with you, I'll keep mine, and we keep a distance from them. Yeah. Yeah, I think we have exceeded our time. It is already 7:32, so I'll stop here for today. So we have dealt with dealings, practically most of the things are covered now. Probably we may take up some new topic from next class onwards. And I have been devoting all my time in these dealings with different types of people, because dealings, the interpersonal dealings, are the most important aspect of our life. If we pay attention to this and apply these principles carefully, we can advance swiftly in Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki